You've been told a lie about growing a YouTube channel and becoming a successful content creator. And unfortunately, this lie sets up even the most consistent and creative YouTubers for failure. And honestly, I can't believe how common it still is for you to hear this advice in YouTube tips and tricks videos. The lie goes a little something like this. If you want to grow on YouTube, all you need to do is find a niche. One that's really specific and that you're an expert in, and that you can make consistent weekly videos about. Just look up the most commonly used search terms in your niche and crank out tutorial after how-to video after tutorial, and eventually your videos will pick up traction in search and your channel will grow. And when your audience is big enough, let's say 100,000 subscribers, then you can start posting what you really want. And your subscribers will follow you no matter what content you post. And you live happily ever after. This does not work. And sadly, I really believed that it would. For years, I told myself once I hit a certain subscriber count, then I could start posting the videos that I really wanted to post instead of the stuff that was optimized for search. I'm gonna tell you why that didn't work for me and what I would do differently if I could start over growing my YouTube channel again. Basically, this old method for YouTube growth does not work, but what does? That's what we're gonna get into in today's video. Welcome back to another coffee chat with Katie, my friends. I am back to living in the van, and today I've made myself a little iced coffee. As always, let me know in the comments what you are drinking, and let's dive right into it. Okay, so the biggest lie in this strategy that I've outlined for you, a strategy that I have come to call the scale then pivot strategy for YouTube growth, is the idea that you can grow an audience based on hyper niche content and expect that that audience will pivot with you if you start creating new content. I know that the strategy comes from a good place, right? It's nice to imagine that you could create content on YouTube and eventually your audience will come to love you and not just the content that you make. It's not that that's an inherently flawed idea. It is possible to do that, just not in the way that this strategy often lines out. It's kind of the execution of this where a lot of people go wrong, and I'm going to explain why. With every video you post, you're essentially training your audience on what to expect from you. And you're also attracting a certain type of audience, of course, based on the subjects that you post about. If you spend literal years posting about healthy vegan recipes and then one day you decide you want to post in-depth physics explainers, it kind of makes sense why the people who came to you originally might not be interested in that new stuff. But I hear you, okay? I totally get that as a content creator, you want your audience to follow you for you, not just the content that you're posting about. I feel like we all can relate to that. Like I said, it is possible to achieve, but not with this approach of going hyper niche at the beginning and really going after ranking in search and then one day just doing this 180 to post about something totally different. Because here's the thing you need to know about creating for search in particular. When you're creating videos that are designed to rank in search, you're going after super specific topics that are answering FAQs or sharing a how-to. You're aiming for these videos to be concise and super valuable. And therefore, when your videos are super concise and subject matter heavy, it's very difficult to insert your personality, have that you in there that you want your subscribers to be invested in, right? So when you go after this really optimized for search, tutorial, how-to based content, it feels like whiplash if you all of a sudden start posting vlogs or other content. Basically what it comes down to is when you post hyper-specific, niche, tutorial, search-oriented content, you end up growing a transactional audience rather than a relational audience. The people that find your videos are people that are coming to YouTube to look for a solution, and so they'll probably come to your video, get that solution, and then move on. If you want a long-term career as a YouTuber, you don't want that to be the relationship that audiences have with your video. Instead, you want your viewers to come to your video to experience a story, and that is how they will get invested in you as a person and follow you along through your future evolutions. Okay, so that sounds nice. We want to build a relational audience instead of a transactional one. How do we actually do that? Let's talk about it. So if the scale then pivot strategy results in a transactional audience, what kind of strategy do you need to implement to get a relational audience that will follow you through your future evolutions and connect with you as a person rather than just come to you for whatever tutorials and results you can provide? To me, it's all about balance. The strategy that I want to present to you is called the creator audience balance strategy. Because I think honestly the flaw in the scale then pivot strategy comes down to its imbalance. The idea that you spend your first several years on YouTube going hard into this search-oriented, super niche content and then pivot and do the complete opposite, it's in that moment of the pivot that so many creators fall off because their audiences do not connect with their new stuff and they stop watching. So instead, I think it's so important that you have that balance from the very beginning. Instead of going hard into the niche, search-based growth content and then switching to the creative, fun lifestyle content, I think that you'll have a lot better results if you do both from the beginning. And actually what I'm going to suggest is not worrying so much about the search stuff, but what I mean is a balance between doing what you love and what you know the audience is gonna love. And for some lucky people out there, those things are one and the same. If you just love making a really strategic, either search optimized or homepage optimized video and that just lights you up, then good for you. But a lot of content creators have a more creative or artistic side that they want to express that doesn't always align with, the algorithm. And that's where this balance is really important. So just to be clear here, where the scale then pivot strategy goes all in on audience for a long time and then pivots to all in on creator, the creator audience balance strategy aims to do both of those things at the same time so that it's not so volatile, right? So that you don't have this chance of your audience completely leaving you when you start posting new content. Rather, you post what you want to post from the beginning, as well as posting the stuff that's going to be strategic for you and help you to grow. Okay, so there's really two main ways that you can go about this creator audience balance strategy. The first one is the one for them, one for me approach. This is something that you might have come across before. It's a pretty common way to approach this more balanced strategy on YouTube. The idea is you alternate between videos that you just really want to produce and that you feel creatively fulfilled by and that you're excited by, and then making videos that you know are going to do well in the algorithm or that you know your audience is going to love. So if we just use me for an example, let's just say hypothetically, I would love to create lifestyle and travel vlogs. But of course, my current niche is social media tips and tricks. So what I could do is every other week I could post a video that's like how to grow on Instagram or how to grow on YouTube. And then the other week I could post like a day in the life video. That's a common way for a lot of creators to approach it. I don't personally love this one for them, one for me approach because I find it's like a little volatile, and from a business perspective, it's kind of hard to use that approach and still do like consistent sponsorships and expect your AdSense to not fluctuate a lot. So for more established creators, that might not be the route that you want to take. Instead, what I want to propose to you is a second approach to this creator audience balance strategy, and that is integrating your personality, your artistry, your creativity into your strategic videos. And that's something that I've been trying to do for a while now on my channel. Because like I said, I think this is a little less volatile. Like if you're doing the one for them, one for me approach, you're kind of accepting that every other video may be like a 9 or 10 out of 10 in YouTube Studio. It might be a flop. But if you try to integrate your creativity, the lifestyle pieces, the vloggy side of things into your strategic videos, then you'll have a little bit more steady performance across your videos. And the benefit of this approach is that you might actually have an opportunity to convert your viewers that come for the strategy into people that stay for the personality when you just sprinkle it in to those strategic videos. Okay, so if you like the one for them, one for me approach, totally go for it. And you can follow all my other videos about how to make strategic YouTube content, and then the other half of your videos, just do whatever you want. But if you're curious about how you can integrate your personality and your creativity into strategic videos so that you can convert your audience from one that is more transactional into one that is more relational, we're going to talk about two really tangible strategies you can use to do that. Okay, so the first tangible strategy is really a mindset shift, and that is stopping creating for the search results and instead focusing on the homepage. In my experience, proponents of the scale then pivot strategy are all about going heavy on the SEO optimization, right? It's all about the tags, the titles, the tutorials. And I'm not gonna lie, that will help you grow slow and steady over time. It's kind of like a surefire way to do that. But like I said, it takes a lot of time and you'll end up probably with a transactional audience. The reason why the homepage is the place that you want to target is not only will it help you grow bigger and faster, because this is where videos go viral, right? This is when you can get on the homepage, you're getting in front of new audiences who haven't seen you yet. They're not even searching for you, but they're getting your video recommended to them. So that's where you can really see a lot of scale. But in addition to that, the benefit of the homepage is that people stumble upon your content when they're browsing, when they're just hanging out looking for some content to watch. People find content through search when they're looking for a solution. They want to go to YouTube, they want to learn how to fix their dishwasher or make a coffee or tie a tie. And once they learn that, they leave and they go do that thing that they were just taught how to do. The YouTube homepage is very different because that's where people go to browse, right? To just hang out, to find something to watch when they want to relax. So when you find your audience through the homepage, you find people that are looking for a story, to be entertained, to feel that companionship, and to connect with your personality, rather than the search results where you tend to find people who are just looking for that quick solution and who are going to leave once they get it. Okay, so how can you optimize your content for the homepage then? Really what it comes down to is your click-through rate, or CTR, and your average view duration, or AVD. By the way, if you're concerned by the fact that I am drinking my coffee and it's obviously sunset, I'm concerned by that too. Actually, I should probably stop. Basically, your CTR and your AVD are the two biggest signals that tell YouTube that your video is one worth watching, worth recommending to people. If YouTube recommends your video that has a high CTR and a high AVD, YouTube can be confident that people are going to click on it and they're going to stay on the platform longer, which is ultimately what YouTube wants. Basically, your click-through rate is a representation of how click-worthy your thumbnail was, how interesting the story that you're going to tell is, like how good you are at advertising it. And your average view duration represents how engaging your video was. Like, are you actually able to keep those people who clicked on your video watching to the very end? When you have a high click-through rate and you have a long view duration, then your video is more likely to be recommended on the homepage and therefore more likely to go viral, therefore growing your channel. Now, one of my personal favorite ways to keep track of my social analytics, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, is with the sponsor of today's video, Dash Hudson. Dash Hudson is a beautiful, visually driven social media analytics platform with customizable dashboards, so you can decide what metrics are most important to you and make sure they're always easily visible. And Dash Hudson just released their 2024 social media trends report. So not only does Dash Hudson keep me up to date with my own social media metrics, but they also keep me up to date with all of the industry standards and current trends when it comes to social media marketing with their reports. This information is super helpful for content creators and social media managers. For example, the report covers the latest data on boosting posts. Should you be boosting posts? Which posts should you be boosting? And what kind of results can you expect? Plus, it goes into detail about different kinds of content, whether organic, paid, or by content creators, and how that impacts brand campaigns. I personally find this kind of thing really fascinating, and I know it's helpful for anybody creating content, whether it's for yourself, for clients, or for a brand that you're working for. So if you want to learn all of the latest trends for 2024, you can check out the report by Dash Hudson. It's totally free to access and it's linked in the description. And as always, thank you so much to Dash Hudson for sponsoring today's video. And we're back in the van because it really is truly sunset now. So let's talk about that second method for the creator audience balance strategy. And this is especially dedicated to my creators out there who have used that scale then pivot strategy and find themselves in a position where you're like, but how do I make my audience care about me? This one's for you. First of all, my friend, I am right there with you. In the summer of 2021, I hit a serious wall and I was just completely burnt out. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I felt like I wasn't creating what I wanted to be creating. I felt like I had put myself into a box that I couldn't get out of. And so I was determined to finally make that pivot that had been promised to me through all these advice videos that I watched. And I thought, you know, I finally made it to 100K subscribers. I can do this. Long story short, it did not work. And thankfully, after a bit of rest, I eventually came around to feeling like, you know what? I actually do like talking about my niche, so it's okay. I made peace with it. But that experience really led me to thinking a lot about this whole, can creators pivot? Can you change niches? What does it actually look like to grow an audience that cares about you? And that really resulted in me developing in the strategy that I'm sharing with you now. And this is what I've landed on. Now, I know this is gonna sound bad, but you need to boil the frog. You've probably heard the old adage that if you put a frog into boiling water, it's just gonna jump right back out. But if you put a frog into a pot with cool water and slowly heat it up over time, the frog will stay in there until it, well, you know how it goes. That's what you need to do with your content. But I promise in a way less gruesome way. If you want to change your content, if you want to switch niche, if you want to pivot, you can. But if you want to bring your audience along with you for that pivot, you need to do it really slowly and over time. And I will say, I think there probably are some niches that are just too far apart for you to ever fully make that pivot. Like, for example, vegan recipes to physics explainers. That might be a hard jump to make. But for a lot of creators who start out as educators because they're making tutorials, they're making how-tos, and eventually you want to make vlogs, you want to do the lifestyle girly stuff, I get that. I think that most niches can eventually pivot to lifestyle. So in order to make this pivot, you want to really slowly and over time sprinkle in more of that personality, sprinkle in more of that lifestyle, and eventually someday you'll be able to make a full video that is focused on that new approach that you really want to do. For me, just hypothetically, let's say your girl wants to share more vlogs, more fun, aesthetic, relaxing content to watch about day-to-day life, you know, the kind of thing I like to watch. Here's what I can do to make that happen, coming from the perspective of somebody who makes social media tips and tricks videos. I can start by making my tips and tricks videos, but doing them in a more vlog style. For example, this video that I made about Instagram strategies while I was in Valencia, Spain. So it feels like you're watching a vlog of me, but I'm still talking about the content that you know me for. Another example along this path, I could make a routine or a day in the life video, but make it about my productive content creation workflow. This is still very much about my current niche, but it's in the style of a lifestyle vlog, and it gives more opportunity to show that personality and do it in a format that more aligns with maybe what I want to create. Or maybe I could even make a video about YouTube strategy from my van while I'm parked in the desert. This takes time though, and it's something that I've been considering as a part of my strategy for like over a year now. And the truth is, it would be possible to do this more rapidly than I have been, but in my particular case, I do sometimes just like making your good old sit down social media strategy or growth tips videos. It's the same reason that I came back from that 2021 burnout doing the same thing I was before, because I realized, oh, I actually do like this. I just need more balance. But if you're in a position where you are posting content that you're just not passionate about anymore, it's not a niche that you really love, but if you feel like you still have it in you for another 6 months to a year, you can use this boil the frog strategy to try to convert your current audience into one that's going to be interested in your new stuff. The point is, this kind of transformation takes a lot of time and dedication, but I really do believe it's possible, especially if the niche that you want to switch to is not that far off from your current one. Or like I said, if it's lifestyle, if it's just being more focused on you as a person. So yeah, I do think this transformation takes place on the scale of 6 months to a year or maybe multiple years, but I don't say that to discourage you. In fact, I really hope that this encourages you, especially if you feel like you've been stuck in a niche or you followed this scale then pivot strategy and found yourself in a box like I did back in 2021. There is hope for you. You can build an audience on YouTube that cares about you for you and not just the tutorials or how-tos that you share. It's just going to take some time, energy, and creativity, but it is possible, and I believe in you. If you're looking for more inspiration for your YouTube growth journey this year, you're going to want to check out this video that I made about my starter kit for new YouTubers in 2024, including the gear, the strategy, and the software that I like to use. So make sure you watch that next. And as always, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you're having adventures and following your dreams. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.